Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to episode 51, Guitar Radio Show. We've got the great Gary Hoey on the show today. And we've got some really interesting stuff from a guitarist by the name of Scott Gaylor. And he's got a new album out called Technicolor Monochrome. We're going to hear a track off of that today. You ready? Plugged in. Episode 51. Let's do it. All right, well, welcome to episode 51 of Guitar Radio Show. The show dedicated to all things guitar, dedicated to the guitar player, guitar builder, gear maker, and the purveyors of those items that you may not know about, but you should. And I know all of you know about Gary Hoey, right? I mean, how could you not, right? Well, for those of you who don't, you will today. Gary was nice enough to take a little time and talk to us while he was en route to a gig. This was just before the holidays, and we've had this one in the can for a little bit, so here it is for y'all. Hey, check us out, guitarradioshow.com. Lots of new stuff happening on there. I had mentioned in the onset of the show that we are going to be hearing a track from the new album, Technicolor Monochrome, from Scott Gaylor. It's his first all-instrumental album. You can actually go and read my review of the album. The album comes out, I think, in February, and it's really, really great. And I can't wait to play this tune for you. We're going to play this after the Gary Hoey interview, but you can go to guitarradioshow.com and see it there in the news feed. And don't forget about Adam Hunt. Adam Hunt. Right now, he's got the Pedals blog out, and you can check that out. And there's a lot of cool blogs coming up. Some that I think might raise a few eyebrows. We'll see. But that's coming up. Hey, check out our Facebook page. It is growing like crazy. It's going nutso cuckoo. And we're having a lot of fun on there, talking with folks, sharing gear, pictures, and lots of other information, too. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Vine, and we'll follow you back. You can hear the show on guitarradioshow.com, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Podbay, Podomatic, Player FM, and soon there's going to be full episodes on YouTube as well. So you'll be able to hear any of these other episodes that you hear now. You'll also be able to tune in on YouTube as well, on our YouTube channel. But when you do, please rate and review the show. Let us know what you're thinking. It's great to get that feedback from you guys, to know that we're doing and delivering something that you're going to find interesting. So it's great. We appreciate it very much. Also wanted to remind you that there are more giveaways coming. I actually received a couple of boxes today with some amplifiers. Yeah, we're going to be giving away an amp. It's pretty interesting, actually. And some pedals. And I've got more straps. And I've got more picks from Lifeblood Picks. And I've got a reverb tuner. So there's a lot of cool stuff. And I've got something really cool that's coming up very soon from Screamin' Effects. And it has to do with their new Uverbia pedal. And that's going to blow your mind. This is going to be pretty special. We're going to do that in the month of February. So I want to let you know. Also, we got coming up, we're going to have a monthly installment with my buddy Steve Cohn from Mesa, Arizona, who is a rabid gear collector. And we're going to be doing something called the Gas Report. And we talk about all the different gear that we buy and purchase and go crazy over and drool. So that's coming up. Lots of cool stuff coming up. Lots of really great music coming up as well. And lots of new bands to talk about. A lot of really great stuff. I'm so excited. It's going to be a great year. And in the meantime, let's get started with the Gary Hoey interview. And I hope you enjoy it. Check it out. All right, Gary Hoey, welcome to Guitar Radio Show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, man?
I'm well. Hey, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it. We're fans of you in a big way.
Well, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great. So right now you're on the road. You're doing a tour right now for the holiday stuff, even though this is going to come out a little bit later. But you're out there pounding the pavement.
Yes, literally. I'm on the road right now. But that's okay. You know what? It's been great, man. This holiday tour, we had some great shows. We did a lot of fundraisers. We had a show for the veterans where we raised a lot of clothing for the vets, and we get to do a lot of fundraisers and stuff like that during the tour, which is an added bonus. And I can't believe it. 2015 actually marks 20 years that I've been doing holiday music, so it's incredible.
Wow, that's incredible. That is incredible. And it's so funny. I was listening to you over this past week. And I've been listening to you, I guess, since the mid '90s, and you are such a master of all trades. I mean, you dip your toe into all these different pools, but yet it always comes out sounding like you.
Oh, thank you, man. Well, I do love different stuff. I get bored doing the same thing, and I always love different styles of guitar and being a producer as well, I kind of take on, different producing approaches to different songs and, trying to give it a different sound. And I think it's kept, my fans at least fresh, with what I'm doing and curious about what I'm going to do next and always keep them guessing.
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, between doing what some folks would consider, I guess, shred, surf, blues, and your blues stuff, which I want to really talk about because I'm a blues head. You've done soundtracks, you've done TV music, ballads, you've done, of course, all the Christmas music, all the holiday music. Who would even think to do the Linus and Lucy thing? I mean, who would even think to do that?
That I've done, and I always like to take songs and try them in a different way. Linus and Lucy was interesting because the original one, Vince Guaraldi, it was in the key of P flat, which is not very guitar friendly, and I ended up doing it in the key of A, and I kind of, I was thinking of Eddie Van Halen when I recorded it, like the way he does his sort of approach to guitar, and that was the idea that I had was Eddie Van Halen when I recorded mine.
Right. Well, it's killer, and it's so funny too because you always pick these really these tunes with incredibly memorable hooks and stuff that many folks, in your audience, my audience, grew up with, and it resonates with us. So that's really it's incredibly clever.
Well, I think when I first came out, I was an instrumental guitarist, and I sing a lot more now. But in the beginning, we were doing instrumental stuff, and I thought the cover songs, were a good way to get people in with stuff that they heard, they were familiar with, so that they would maybe discover some of my own music,
Yeah. And when you first started playing, what was the music that you were playing? Was it blues? Was it rock? What was it? What was it that really grabbed you to make you play in the first place?
Well, I started playing in the mid-'70s, and so there was a lot of blues-oriented rock. And of course, the classic blues stylings, whether it was Cream, Eric Clapton, Hendrix, Stevie Ray came out more in the 80s, but there was a lot of blues-based players that I was listening to, so that was sort of a lot of the foundation I had, and I would absolutely say I started out kind of a blues rock player, and then I started teaching guitar, and then later on I heard people like Eddie Van Halen in 1978, Yngwie Malmsteen, Steve Vai, and guys like that. They were the ones that really made me go, wow, I gotta get off the metronome, and I gotta learn how to play fast, and it didn't come easy for me. It really didn't. I worked really hard on getting my speed and accuracy, but I always had that kind of bluesy, soulful feel, and my first guitar teacher had a great vibrato, and I think he helped me a lot with that. So, that was always in the foundation, but the back stuff took me a long time.
Yeah. It's interesting because, throughout your career, you've worked with I mean, so many people. I mean, Johnny Winter, Robin Ford, Jeff Beck, Satriani Vai, Dick Dale. So when you approach a project, whatever it is, or if you're working with Lita, folks, he's produced Lita Ford albums and he co-writes with Lita Ford. When you depending on what project that you're going towards, what is your, do you come at it all with the same mindset? Is it all the same? What's your prep like for it?
It's actually different, a lot, depending on the artist that I'm working with and depending on the situation I'm in. I'm really good at just kind of improvising and thinking on my feet and using my instincts a lot, and just trying to be honest with people, and that seems to have gotten me further along in my career. Being an East Coast guy, I'm used to things just being straightforward, and I grew up in the martial arts. I'm a third-degree black belt. So I have this sort of no fear kind of attitude about things, and I'm willing to jump in, and I go in deep water a lot, and hang out with people that I grew up admiring. Yet I kind of come in saying, okay, if I'm not meant to be here, I shouldn't be here. So I do rock and roll fantasy camps with people like Roger Daltrey and Joe Perry coming up, and all these superstars, and they'll have me be a music director, so I got to go in and work with them, and sometimes I feel a little bit intimidated, but I just say, well, I've been around a long time, I know what I'm doing, I'm just going to go with what I feel, and it seems to work. But you got to kind of be adaptable, to the different artists that you're working with, and make sure that you're respecting what they are, and not just trying to put my stamp on everything,
Yeah, I definitely see you doing that too. You just make yourself very malleable to that situation, and you kind of you're like the glue, you're like the spackle that goes right into all the nooks and crannies. It really makes so much sense.
Thanks. Well, rock and roll and making music and recording albums, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of pain, and sometimes it's not always pretty,
Yeah.
And so that's what I tell people when I produce them. I'm like, listen, you might not love me every minute, I promise you that, but at the end of this, you're going to love me. All right, there's going to be some rough spots, because if it's easy, if we're agreeing on every single thing,
right,
we're not breaking new ground, and I'm not pushing you as an artist to go to different places you've never gone. And I said to Lita Ford, I said, this album, you need to sing better than you've ever sung, and these songs have to be the best songs you've ever written, or I'm not interested.
Yeah. So are you?
And she was like, great.
So are you a bit of a taskmaster in the studio?
Am I what?
A taskmaster?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just, I do whatever I got to do to get the job done, man. I'll do whatever I got to do. I'll hire whoever I have to hire. I will borrow whatever I have to borrow. I learned from some great producers, Roy Thomas Baker, who produced Queen, and The Cars, and Journey. I worked with Richie Zito, who did The Cult, and so many great bands, Cheap Trick, and what I learned from those guys is you never be lazy. Don't be lazy. Go digging out that old amp, dust off the tubes. Crawl through. Whatever you got to crawl through to get the tone. Do whatever you got to do, and that is my work ethic.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely there, and you do this. Obviously, it's the same work ethic for you when you're doing your own projects.
Yes, absolutely. When I record my own records, I work hard on it, but I try not to overdo it. I actually record fairly quickly, and I can produce stuff fairly fast. But I make sure it's right. It's not, I go back and I do it again and again, and just, because it's forever, man. Those guitar players out there that know what I'm saying. You record something, and the producer says, oh, that was fine. Let's just leave it. And your instincts, you're like, oh, man, I know I can do better. Mm-hmm. That's when you got to speak up and say, no, man, I want to do it again, and fight for your art.
Yeah, you definitely. I mean, it's amazing. It's actually refreshing to see somebody working so hard in the business, and it actually paying off too. It's refreshing.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's a tough business, and I feel for so many musicians out there that are trying to make a living, that have given it their whole life, and it's a tough gig, man. And even if you've had a little bit of success, like I have, you know, you still have to prove yourself every year. You have to reinvent. You've got to try different ways to make it and keep my kids, you know, fed on rock and roll. And, you know, my wife's been home 16 years, and I don't know how we've done it, but we've done it.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, one time I was talking to Robin Zander from Cheap Trick, and he was saying, you know, Mark, he goes, we're not rock stars. We're working musicians, and happy to be so.
Yeah, that's well put, man. And I'm a big fan of his and love the band. And, you know, that is what it is, you know. I mean, the rock star part, you know, is a role that you play, you know. And if somebody wants you to be the rock star, you show up, you do the autographs, you treat everybody great, you know, and you play that role. But it's it's all the hard work in between all that makes you a working musician.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't care how famous you are. We all are thankful that we get to do what we love. And, you know, we don't take it for granted. And, you know, some people, it gets to their head and their ego gets ahead of them, and then they end up, sort of losing perspective. And, you know, it's not a good place to be, because no matter how famous you are, eventually you are going to, you're going to go down, and, you know, you're going to end up at the bottom, and you work your way up, and everybody does, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Last time I got to see you play was at, it was last April at the Dallas Guitar Festival. And,
okay.
Yeah, you came up, you did a set in the afternoon that was just blistering, killer set. It was mixed with blues and some surf. And, so are your sets normally like that? You mix it up?
We do. And, you know, we've been on the holiday tour for a while, and we do the same. We mix up some of the blues, some deja blues. We do some of my older songs. We put in some surf stuff. We just mix it all up because I think it makes a more interesting show. And, you know, nobody wants to hear all Christmas music for 2 hours, man. It's just, I wouldn't even want to hear it, you know. And I know a lot of my fans that come to the Christmas shows maybe have never seen me live before, and they're hoping to hear certain songs. So we try and mix it up for that reason.
Well, you played one of my favorite tunes. You played Truth at that show, and I was like, yeah, man, you just kicked it to death. That was great.
Oh, cool. Thank you, man. That song was off of, I think, my American Made album with that song. And I always loved that song. You know, it's funny, I wrote that song, I played it for my wife. I'm like, you know, this is like an old B.B. King song. I just lied to her to see if she would like it. She goes, wow, that's a great song. And then I was like, I wrote it. And she was like, you stinker, you know.
Yeah, that's B.B. King. That's B.B. King, but that's B.B. King on steroids. That's what that is.
Right. Exactly. It is, man. But I definitely followed a couple from B.B. King in that one.
A cool thing too that we got to see while we were at that Dallas show was I happened to be walking by the Category 5 amplifiers, their little display there, and you got up and just did an impromptu jam, and you just tore it up with those amps. It was great.
Thank you, man. Yeah, you know, it's fun, those guitar shows, because you get to, you know, walk around and try out different gear and hear what's going on, and I always like to, you know, have an impromptu play. Just, you know, we're there to play. We're there to have fun.
Yeah, for sure. That's my favorite event of the year, I think. Better than NAMM even. I mean, and NAMM is fun, but there's no sound police, which is really great.
Yeah, I love it too. It's so much more manageable than NAMM, and it's more enjoyable. NAMM is great, but it's so overwhelming, you know. Yeah,
for sure. So you've got in 2015, which is coming and it's here. You've got some stuff coming up on the horizon. You said you had mentioned to me earlier that you got a new blues CD coming, and is this going to be like kind of a cross between some covers and originals, or all original?
Well, the Deja Blues album I just put out, you know, last couple of years or whatever it's been. We did Blind or Bad Side, and we also did Going Down, which was a couple of covers, and the rest were originals. My new album is going to kind of be another blues album, maybe a little more rock mixed in it. And I'm planning on doing all originals and no cover songs. And I'll tell you why. You know, I've done so many covers my whole career. Every album's had at least a cover or two. And I just, now I have my own record company, my own publishing company, and I've got the rights back. You know, I got control of all my stuff now, and I'm just tired of paying royalties to somebody else. Every time I do a good song, I got to call Harry Fox. We have to clear the licensing with the publishing.
Yeah.
It's just awesome, man. And then we have to account to them every time we do a pressing. And I give them, I'm probably one of the honest people that actually pay them. You know, a lot of people don't. They just press records, sell them out of their trunk, and they don't pay people. So I'm going to try not to do any covers this time because I don't want to pay anybody out of the stuff we're doing because we're not making it a lot of money these days on record sales. You know how it is. And
oh, yeah.
People, they don't want to buy music because they can listen to it on Spotify for free.
Mm-hmm.
But we do sell records at the shows, and we do sell them online, and so I'm going to try to come up with a bunch of Hoey originals. And if I can't, I run out, I'll do a couple covers.
All right, cool. Well, that's cool. I mean, I like your original tunes, too. I mean, they're really good. They're really good.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. I love writing songs, but I do love doing covers, too. I do enjoy it.
Yeah. So speaking of online, you're looking at doing something different with your website this go around. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I have a website that's about 90% done. A brand new site. It's so cool. It's so much better than the site I have now, which there's nothing wrong with it. But I want to update it. And one of the key things that I'm focusing a lot on is guitar instruction. So I'm filming a lot of videos, and I'm going to have a ton of YouTube video links that are going to give people instructional stuff to practice, tips, exercises, blues. It's going to go pretty deep, and then as time goes on, I'm going to turn it into even more extreme website for instruction. It's something I really want to focus on a lot. And eventually, it's going to be subscription-based. But initially, there's going to be a lot of free stuff. But at some point, I am going to have a section of the site that people will have to they'll have to sign up and subscribe. But it's going to be well worth it. There's going to be over 500 videos. I'm going to have interactive communication with the subscribers where they can literally ask me for specific lessons. They can ask me for specific songs they want transcribed, and it's going to be something I'm going to focus a lot on in the future. And eventually, when I'm not touring anymore, I'm going to be heavily into instruction.
That's cool. I mean, and people who really love the way you play, like, it's funny. I was listening to this morning. I was listening to your version of Hocus Pocus, and there's this one line, the first line out of the main theme. When you get out of the theme and you go for a solo, there's this one line that you do that is otherworldly, man. It is insane. And it's so freaking tasty, too, at the same time. And I'm like, wow, man. So when you tell me that you're going to start doing some more instruction, people are going to want that so much. It's a great idea.
Thank you, man. I think so. I grew up, playing guitar, and I took a lot of lessons, and I had good teachers and I had bad teachers. And I really feel like I'm a very good guitar teacher because I know how to break it down, simplify it. One of my core audiences is going to be guys that have never played guitar before. I really want to focus on the middle-aged guys that have always wanted to play guitar, they've never played. And then I'm going to also have a lot of stuff for guys that, we're just looking for those little things to unlock that thing that makes them fly and makes them get their ideas out. And I have a lot of great stuff to teach, and it's going to be a really heavy focus on what I'm doing. And when I recorded Hocus Pocus, that was 20 years ago, man. I was definitely trying to prove something, back then. So I got to, keep it up.
Yeah, well, you keep doing it, so that's good. You keep coming to the party prepared, so that's good.
Thanks, man. Well, I work hard at it. I work hard, and I'm playing more now than I ever have. And I never drink alcohol before the show, and those kind of things, man. Keeps you on your game.
Yeah. Do you practice every day still?
I do, and I got to tell you, the last few years I've been practicing more and more. Not so much like practicing, but just picking it up in the morning with a cup of coffee. And I sit and play, watching the news, and I have a 13-year-old son who loves to play, so he played with me last night on stage, and, so we play a lot together, and, I'm continuously trying to challenge myself and, learn old songs I've never played before and, just keeping the chops up and playing every bit I can. And I'll tell you, I was inspired a lot by hanging out with people like Joe Bonamassa, who's one of the greatest blues players out right now, and playing with Joe Satriani. I did a Jeff Beck tour in 2010. And I watched these guys, man. They never stop playing.
Yeah.
I did a tour with Ingray this past summer. The guy walks around backstage, the guitar is hanging off his neck. He's always playing. Same with Joe Bonamassa. He plays at sound check, then he plays before the show, then he plays during the show, then he plays after the show.
Yeah.
That is what it takes, man. You gotta play continuously.
Yeah.
And these guys are doing it because they love it. Mm-hmm. So it kind of inspired me to start playing a little bit more than I wanted.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That makes total sense. Absolutely. I actually read an article one time. It was when Clapton and Beck were touring together for that short winter tour that they did together. Clapton said, when Beck comes on the stage, it makes me have to step up my game because he plays with such ferocity that he's got to step up his game. Otherwise, he'll be buried.
You know what? Very true, man. Very, very true. Jeff Beck, he has such a conviction when he plays. And you know what? It does. It gives us a kick in the butt, man. And like people like Joe Bonamassa, I played with him at the Wang in Boston. There's a YouTube video of me and Joe playing together. And that's the same kind of stuff. So you get up there with a guy like Joe Bonamassa, and, he ain't going to go easy on you, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready, and I'm ready. I'm always ready.
I like that. So let's
I'm a black belt. If worse comes to worse, I'll kick his ass.
So let's talk gear, man.
I'm just kidding, man. I love talking.
Let's talk gear. You're a Fender endorser, right?
Yes. I've been a Fender endorser now for 20 years. I've been playing Strat.
Wow.
Started out on a Les Paul, and then I was playing Hamer for about 8 years. I was with Hamer guitars, but now I've settled in with Fender. Love my Strat, and been using Seymour Duncan pickups for a long time. Lately, I started trying out these new pickups by Fishman called Fluence, which are their first electric guitar pickup called the Fluence pickup, and they're actually quite amazing. I've been using those, trying them out. My amp of choice is EVH, Eddie Van Halen 5153, which is the third installment of his 5150 amp. And the one I use is manufactured by Fender. And it's an amazing 3-channel amp. I love it to death. I use it on my new blues record, so it does everything.
That's cool. And what do you use much in the way of pedals or no?
Yeah, I do. I have a pedal board out on the road, and what I use is I'm using a Tube Streamer. I'm using my new distortion pedal called the Intimidator, which I designed with Rocktron. It's a little more of a hard rock, heavy metal type pedal. It has a lot of gain, but it can be used for anything. I use the Joe Satriani delay, the Vox, I think it's called the Time delay or something, and Joe gave it to me. He personally gave me the delay. That's not why I use it, but it's an awesome delay pedal. And I use the Boss, I think it's called the Rev 5 or something. It's a reverb pedal. And I run both of those into my effects loop, which I think is extremely important. So my wah, my distortions, everything else is going straight in the amp, but I run all my modulation, my flanger, which I use the ToneWorks. It's called the Barracuda. Howard Leaks from Heart designed it, and it's the most amazing flanger I've ever heard. I use that, and you just got to run a couple extra guitar cables to your pedal board to the loop, and then whatever cable's running into your amp, you have to run 3 cables, make a little snake, and then it allows you to have really fantastic delay and reverb. It makes a very big difference in the way they sound. It makes them sound more transparent. And if you run your delay and distortion and all that in the same pedals, then it just washes out. It doesn't sound great. So if you have a loop, it's important to use it.
Yeah, well, it's so funny because when I hear your sound, it's not, like some guys can have a very overprocessed sound. Your sound is so natural, and you can hear the wood of the guitar. And that's what I really like. At the same time, there are times where you play with a lot of gain, but you can still hear the wood. That is always fascinating to me. And I was watching you play, and you play that white Strat with the flag pickguard, with the American flag pickguard. And I'm saying to myself, how in the hell is he getting such a fat sound out of those single coils? It sounds like a humbucker. What in the world, man?
Well, that white Strat, I'll fill you in on it. That white Strat with the American flag that John Cruz built, we ended up pulling out the bridge pickup and we put in a mini humbucker, a Seymour Duncan JB.
Oh, okay.
So that, if you heard me on the neck pickup, you're hearing just a regular single coil. But if I switch to the other pickup, it does get, pretty crunchy. Not quite a full humbucker sound, but, it is getting a little more chunk, and then it eliminates all that 60 cycle hum.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a great sounding guitar. That guitar, and it's funny too because Strats are an anomaly to me. I have 4 of them, and neither one sounds anywhere near the same or feels anywhere near the same as the other. And that white Strat of yours is just it's one of the real good ones. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is. Thank you, man. Yeah, that one has a very special thing about it. I'm not really sure what it is. It's that thing you talked about just now. I mean, I have so many guitars, and they all have sort of a special thing, or some you just go, this one ain't doing it for me. And it's like a woman. Until you hold her in your hands and you caress her, you really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna happen.
Yeah. And I find that fascinating because I don't find that whole bunch with Telecasters. I don't find that a whole bunch even with Les Pauls. But I do find it with Strats. Strats are a unique beast.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's what makes them special, and that's why we have to have so many of them.
How many guitars do you have in your collection?
I have, I think it's close to 40.
Wow.
I think it's close to 40, somewhere around there. But I have so many things I've had from different companies and, old hammers. I got acoustics. I've got a few bass guitars. So it's a lot of different stuff. But, live, like tonight, I'm playing in Connecticut tonight with my band. I'll probably bring 4 or 5 guitars. And Johnny Ware's guitarist, his name is Paul Nelson. He was Johnny's manager. Johnny passed away, and I did some shows with the band after Johnny passed to kind of help them out. So his guitar player, Paul Nelson, is coming out to play with me tonight. He's a great player.
He is a great player. We actually had Paul on the show just a few episodes ago. He's a great guy.
He is, and he's a remarkable musician, man. He's so incredible. The guy can play anything.
Yeah, that's so funny because that's what I said to him when I spoke to him. I said he's a chameleon. He can fit into any situation and make it hapen.
Yeah, he does. He plays like Eric Johnson 1 minute, and then he sounds like someone else. And he's so humble. He's such a nice man.
Yeah, he really is. If you've ever heard his EP, his EP called "Look" is brilliant. It's really, really good.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's something else. And it's so sad Johnny passed away. And I told Paul, Paul, I hate to say it, but this is time for you to shine, man. This is time for you to go out and do your thing now and make your name. He deserves it.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So, do you think we're going to see you at the Dallas Guitar Show this year, or will we see you in Texas?
I think I will. I know Jimmy told me, block out the dates, man. We want to have you back again. So I did put it on my calendar, and I'm planning on making it out. So that would be great. I'm hoping to be there.
That would be great. I'd love to see you again, see you play, and maybe get a chance to meet you as well.
Yeah, man, that would be fantastic. This time we gotta hang out and have a beer or something.
Yeah, absolutely, or some really good barbecue because we're all about barbecue.
Yes, we gotta get some barbecue for sure.
Well, Gary, thanks so much for being on Guitar Radio Show today. I really appreciate it, and I know you're out there humping it out and making it happen, and doing the road thing. And I know it's tiring and it's tough. You just played last night, so I appreciate you taking the time out to talk with us today.
few of these, and you did really well. I really enjoyed the interview, and if you need anything from me or my wife, email us. I'll send you the new album. If you need anything, we'll mail you some stuff. Let me know.
That's great. I'd love to do that. I'd love to do a giveaway for the album, get people to get turned on to the record, man.
Yeah, please do. Send me an address. We're going to shoot you some stuff, and we'll send you some goodies.
All right, sounds great. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. All the best.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Another reason why I love doing this show. Meeting really nice people. Really great people. Genuine people. That's Gary Hoey. Very genuine guy. Very forthcoming and easy to talk to. Really great. Thanks, Gary, for being on the show. I really appreciate it. We're going to get into playing that track for you now from the new album by Scott Gaylor from Technicolor Monochrome. I'm going to let the music do its talking. This is a track called G-Body Shuffle. You ready? Scott Gaylor, Guitar Radio Show. Scott Gaylor, G-Body Shuffle from the album Technicolor Monochrome, which will be out in February. And I got to tell you, man, that's killer. And that's not even the best song on the record. I mean, it's great. It's a great song, and the songs get better. It's really, really good, I gotta tell you. Scott's doing something interesting. The record's done, and he doesn't want it to just be a digital download experience. He wants to old school you with some physical copies of the record, and he wants to put CDs in people's hands, and so he's decided to do a Kickstarter project for that aspect of it. So the record's done, it's mastered, it's ready, but he wants to do this. This is his dream, to have a physical copy in people's hands. So he went to Kickstarter and he set up a thing there. So you can go to Kickstarter and you just search Scott Gaylor, Gailor, Scott Gaylor Technicolor Monochrome, and you'll be able to find where it is if you want to get in on the action. And he's got some pretty cool perks that go along with the folks who help him do this. There isn't a whole lot of time left on this thing. It's actually ending very soon. So if you can, jump in and help him out. And it'd be super cool. In the meantime, we got to get out of here. Next episode I'm really excited about. It is Too Slim. Tim Langford from Too Slim and the Tail Draggers. He's been going through some crazy stuff lately, and we've got a full interview with him, and I think you're really going to dig his music too. So, meantime, we got to get out of here. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Don't forget guitarradioshow.com. If you want to sign up for those giveaways, go to guitarradioshow.com. Go to the Contact GRS tab. Put in your information. Hit send. You're in for anything that we do ever. Questions, comments, concerns? guitarradioshow@gmail.com. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Keep playing. We'll see you next time on Guitar Radio Show. Peace.
Now everybody say, "Fuck you, Ed." Fuck you, Ed. I like this crowd already.
GRS Productions.